Peace and love, family. Peace and love, family. TC, spiritual shepherd. Shalom Elohim. Yo. So, we've been speaking on the private process as of lately, and a lot of people have been asking me, what does this have anything to do with spirituality? What does this have anything to do with shepherding, bro? What does this have to do with shepherding someone spiritually? Yo, the way that you operate in commerce is spiritual. It's energetic. Yo, they have chips in these documents. They have chips in the passport card. They have chips in these things. Why? Because they not only want to track you where the energy is, where the energy's going, where the money's going, where the surety bond is. And so they want to keep track of certain things like this, or who has surety over it, who has control in it. So like they're going to play their little games and whatever, but that's what I'm saying is like you start to establish yourself. So while doing this private process, I'm going to just name off a bunch of stuff, whether you know it or not. I'm going to go hard right now. So ultimately, this is the main thing. Passport process, doing it as a non-citizen national with an explanatory statement with proper identity structure, DS11 or DS82 for renewals. And then you want to do a renewal also with an explanatory statement and proper identification. And two, maybe any other supporting documents such as an authenticator or apostille birth certificate if that's an update with a DS82, but we'll move on. Apostilling and authenticating the birth certificate. Apostilling the birth certificate is through California Secretary of State. And then authenticating it is through Department of State. So Secretary of State, Department of State. All right? You see what I'm saying? Secretary of State is like local and state. Okay? And then ultimately, Department of State is state and federal. So it's going to be a little bit different how we communicate via different types of things. So you want to apostille it before you authenticate it. So you'll want to apostille it in a multitude of, so you'll want to do it in a Hague convention. I would go through like Jamaica. Then the next thing that we would do is that we would start buying into the fact of like we have to do our due diligence and study and become intellectually of sound mind to be able to uphold ourselves with overstanding and good standing within the court and that of the court of the law. And then this is also teaching us how to live within ecclesiastical private law and studying and repenting and learning and why we repent, why we follow the law, why we live a certain way. That's what I always been telling people is like, we got to live a certain way. We got to live a certain way. And like, it's all right. I know this sounds crazy and outlandish, but like God set it up that it's like, it's important to mess up. Like it's important to mess up so then you can learn. And it's also important to learn from mess ups. That's probably the most important is to learn from mess ups, and not even just from yourself, but learn from mess ups from other people, learn from, and that's why you study. That's why you study other people. That's why you learn other people. That's why you're intuitive to other people. That's why you're discerning around other people. You're discerning around the spirits that you are bringing into your life, because you're bringing positive spirits into your life, and you're bringing a multitude of different spirits. But the thing is that you can channel just having more positive spirits by being discerning of the spirits that you allow in your life. So, and then also forgiving yourself, learning yourself, helping yourself, transcending yourself, developing who you are. This is directly connected to the private process and shepherding ourselves spiritually, because when you show the proper identification, you're going to have the soul's right to breathe. You're going to be able to uphold yourself way better and whatnot, that we're going to be able to strengthen who we actually are and not just be, at the whims of other people. Like, people can't detain you. There's people who cannot detain you because you are not of the corporation. So that's what I'm saying is like, when you have proper structure, all right? When you have proper structure, this is that you can start to put people on notice immediately. So I have stickers back there. It's an American National sticker. It's a Rastafarian sticker. Okay, that is also representative of my faith and my ministry. And then two, as well as there's a California Republic sticker. The California Republic sticker is showing that I'm of the Republic of California. Or California Republic, 777. So we have seen a 444 We've seen a 555 and we've seen a 777. Just saw a 333. We've seen another 555. So these are the type of energies that have been going on the last hour. Okay, so triples for sure, as well as we saw 1111. So that's one quadruple of 4. So 444. Ultimately, too, this private process is that other people are souls. So you are conversing with other spirits. And so by you showing up, you are able to not only shepherd them, but you're also to be in the most upright standing to be able to be protected as much for you and your family. You're going to have more rights because U.S. citizens don't have rights. The only right that they have is that of a U.S. citizen of a 14th Amendment indentured servitude. They have the right to voluntary servitude. Think about it. They only have a right to voluntary servitude and of upholding of what a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen can do. That's it. And, yeah. So you guys have to start to see that you can operate outside of it. Like you have to think of the world bigger. Like you have to think of the world bigger on a global scale. And that's how you're going to change your life. Is that like, you're like, oh, so in the grand scheme of it, if I make $1,000 a day, but everybody's like, there's billions and trillions and quadrillions of dollars, like $1,000 a day is not a lot, bro. It's not. $3,000 a day, $5,000 a day, $10,000, $30,000 a day is still not a lot. Okay, 30,000 is a little nice right there. But you guys get what I'm saying, is like people do this all the time. Like people, like I'm not saying like everybody does it and everybody in your realm probably doesn't. But it's because you put yourself in that realm. Okay, so when you have like a hermit mode, when you go and live as a Jedi, when you go live as Yoda and you go to freaking Dagobah system, when you go into the cave as Luke, when you go into self-healing mode, when you go into self-preservation mode, self-conservation mode, when you go into this type of mode, you're gonna do things that other people know or to themselves that it doesn't exist. But to you, you know it exists. And so you can create it specifically a significant different outcome because of who you are and how you operate. Like for real, for real. So you're going to do this. This is how we shepherd people is that not only are you going to be able to operate better, you're going to have cheaper insurance. You're going to not necessarily have to register with what? A public corporation, a public service company known as the Department of Motor Vehicles. I don't drive a vehicle. Okay, I don't drive a motor vehicle. I drive an automobile. They're slightly different. They're very similar, but they're slightly different in that of the color of law and that of the court of law. Is that a private automobile is my private conveyance, and that is my right to travel in my private conveyance. And then you have a binder. You have to have certain things. You have a binder. You have all of your court cases or your case law or all your consumer laws, all these different types of things that you've shown in public, and you show, hey, I'm a private attorney and I mostly govern myself. Normally, the only person that I'm overseeing is that of one person, which is a corporation. I'm only really overseeing one person, but there are from time to time other persons in the matrix that come and ask me about these different types of forms of law or being an attorney or private law, or how do I do this type of thing? How do I file? How do I file with the state? How do I help people? How do I grow with people? Whatever. This is what I'm saying is that when you start to operate differently, people see you operating differently. They're going to be able to recognize you differently because you have the right identification. This is facts. This is straight up facts. Straight up facts. So I hope you guys took some stuff away from this. I love rambling at times, but ultimately, y'all, doing the secure party creditor process, that's the last thing that we're going to be getting into next, is the secure party creditor process. And I'm going to get into like why this thing is very, very important. And so I'm going to get straight up into it. I'm going to get straight up into this. I'm going to go into the 928 papers and the secured party creditor process. I'm going to do it right now. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love. Peace be with you. Shalom Elohim. TC Spiritual Shepherd. See y'all in the next one.